emergency vehicles that might have to be on that boardwalk.
Down in the Amazon basin of Peru, tourists and scientists alike are exploring the high frontier, the very high frontier, the top of the rainforest. And they're doing it from an unusual vantage point, a walkway suspended in the trees some 10 stories off the ground. National Geographic Today's Peter Standring traveled to the jungles of northeastern Peru, about 100 miles from the city of Quitos.
In the remote Amazon rainforest, you really can take a walk on the wild side. In this case, it's an exhilarating trek through the treetops along narrow walkways suspended more than 100 feet above the jungle floor.
You're definitely lost in the trees and all of the noise, and it's a wonderful feeling.
Sort of a unique perspective on it.
Oh yeah, because you're above everything.
It's known as the Asir Canopy Walkway, the longest walkway of its kind, stretching a quarter mile through the rainforest. The hanging pathways are made of wooden planks and ladders. Fastened to trees, they connect a series of raised platforms. The highest is perched 118 feet above the fray.
It's amazing to look out and see everything, the treetops, and looking down you see even more treetops, and you realize how small we are in comparison to this whole jungle.
Up here, the jungle is a very different place. While the rainforest floor is dark and mysterious, the world above the canopy is bright and bursting with color. You come face to face with a tangle of flora and fauna that you won't find down below.
Nice flowers here.
21-year-old Clive Rioja is a naturalist guide from Iquitos.
I have no idea the numbers of times I came here.
Did you still enjoy it?
I still enjoy every time I come here. It's so beautiful. I see something new. It's just fun to be up here. It's nice. I mean, it's beautiful.
Guides and tourists alike have been enjoying beautiful vistas of this part of Peru for 10 years. The Canopy Walkway was constructed just a short distance away from the Asir Lodge and Research Center. Ever since it was built, thousands of visitors have ascended these stairs to get a unique view of the rainforest.
Breathtaking, absolutely fantastic, probably one of the best experiences of my life.
Of course, it's not just for tourists. The walkway was also intended to accommodate scientists, to give them easy access to an ecological realm that has been largely unexplored.
For decades, biologists who were studying the rainforest had to make observations and collect specimens from the forest floor. When they finally began to venture up here into the canopy on platforms and on raised walkways like this one, they quickly realized that this is a whole new frontier.
Now we're starting to look down on trees that before we were eye level with.
For scientist Joe Bishop, the canopy is a special place, teeming with life. In fact, he says it's really the powerhouse of the rainforest, where 70% of indigenous species live and where 90% of photosynthesis takes place.
Well, in a sense, it's where the life starts, because the sun, the trees that actually form the upper canopy are collecting all the energy from the sun.
All the sunshine up here gives birth to an amazing array of animals and plants. For example, bromeliads grow and thrive at these heights.
The leafy part of the plant here more or less forms a cup.
You'll also find countless species of birds and insects hanging around up here. Everywhere you turn, you see ants crawling in and out of the trees. Along the way, we also saw less common critters like this pygmy squirrel and a newly discovered type of lizard called a shovel-tail lizard. Without the canopy walkway, Bishop says these creatures may have gone unnoticed.
The availability here is sort of a permanent thing. So if you wanted to do a more long-term study, you had plants that you wanted to mark, or you located certain insects that you were interested in studying, you could keep coming back to these trees.
And really, that's the beauty of the walkway. Unparalleled access to the most vibrant part of the rainforest. It's taking nature walks to a whole new level.
That was National Geographic Today's Peter Standring in Peru. He did a lot of interesting stories while he was down there. We'll be bringing them to you over the next few days. Even though that walkway is a little bit shaky, Peter tells us it is safe and it is secure, supported by heavy-duty cables, flanked with protective netting, and, like Peter after that trip, checked every day for wear and tear.
Well, still ahead, it's back to reality. Back to Baltimore, tonight's great neighborhood. But not so fast. First, extreme Africa. We hear an awful lot about saving the rainforest, but we don't often get a chance to see why that's important. So tonight, we take you to the Amazon basin in South America, where for thousands of years, the rainforest has been a rich source of medicines for people who live there and for us. National Geographic Today correspondent Peter Standring traveled to Peru, to a remote part of the rainforest near the city of Iquitos, to a place where good medicine is plant medicine.
He embodies generations of alternative medicine. Antonio Montero Pisco is a shaman or healer from a small Amazon village. Pisco says he's been curing people since he was 6 years old. My main responsibility, he says, is to cure, not kill. I cure many, many people. Everybody leaves totally satisfied, cured, and with their lives. Pisco saves lives by attending to his patients' spiritual and physical needs. Not only does he foster the body's positive energy, he also relies on a bounty of medicinal plants and herbs, tried and true remedies gathered from the forest. Take a look. From the fruit of the cacona comes a juice that controls diabetes. From the plant's leaves, another juice used for treating burns.
Uña de gato, que se utiliza en medicina.
There's uña de gato, or cat's claw, tree bark that's made into tea and consumed to prevent sicknesses, including, Pisco says, cancer and arthritis.
It's well known now in the world. I would say in the whole America, I think it's well known. I don't know about Europe. Pills, the pharmacists are making pills under different names using the uña de gato.
Se forma como crema.
There's also sangre de grado, or dragon's blood. It's sap taken from a local tree, used topically to take the itch or sting out of insect bites and to help heal cuts and scrapes.
I got an infection on my finger.
Las flores.
This little yellow flower called baton de oro, or golden button, is a painkiller, especially useful for toothaches.
Oh my goodness. No, it's like really tingly. First it's numbing and then it's really tingly. That feels good.
While visitors from the outside world are impressed with the power and properties of these plants, local people have been tapping the rainforest for medicine for centuries.
It's well known here. Most of the people know, and they use it directly. If they know how, they will use it at home a lot.
So this is not just jungle make-believe or mumbo-jumbo. This is real medicine.
No. That's the real thing.
It's the real thing for people living in tiny remote villages scattered along the banks of the Amazon. And it's the real thing for people living in larger cities.
If you need proof of the popularity of traditional medicines in this part of the world, look no further than this outdoor market in Belén in the Amazonian city of Iquitos. In these stalls here, you can find just about anything you're looking for.
In fact, it's quite an industry. Row after row of bottled cures, stacks of herbal remedies, and bundles of plants said to heal and promote well-being. We're here every day, Victor Amau says. We have all the products: chichuasa, uña de gato, ayahuasca. Lots of medicinal plants. We prepared them all ourselves here in the store. While this third world drugstore may look suspect, think again. Countless modern drugs have been derived from natural products like these. Hundreds of medicines extracted from the rainforest flora. Anesthetics, antibiotics, contraceptives, and more. Dr. Peter Raven is a leading American botanist.
People have been using these for thousands, really hundreds of thousands of years, not here particularly, but in general. Then you can, and obviously people don't go on using plants as medicines unless they're effective.
Many believe it's important for indigenous people to continue to cultivate and use medicinal plants, for their sake and for the sake of the forest. About 100 miles from Iquitos, along the Napo River, we find a community where the old ways are being preserved.
Here in the village of Sukusori, scientists have helped the local people to start a botanical garden. Right now, the garden has about 50 medicinal plants in it that the locals can use to treat a variety of ills and ailments.
It's a 5-acre garden supplying a wealth of home remedies to some 25 families, essentially allowing them to help themselves and to care for their children.
This is free for everybody. This is free for them. They don't need to spend money for get the medicine they have here.
Having this garden here, Murieta says, also highlights the need to protect the rainforest as a source for these medicines.
If we are helping them, we are helping to the forest. We are helping the world in general.
Indeed, the Amazon rainforest, while one of the most diverse places in the world, is also one of the most endangered. As huge swaths of the forest are destroyed for other resources, scientists are losing an opportunity to find and identify thousands of plants with medicinal ingredients.
Sí, hay muchos jóvenes, muchos que no todavía está descubierto.
Yes, there are many plants that haven't been discovered yet, Pisco says. We're going to arrive at a day of discovering very powerful plants because really there's not enough time or enough people studying medicinal plants. Like his father and grandfather, Antonio Montero Pisco already puts dozens of medicinal plants to good use. But experts agree there's enormous potential for new remedies to be uncovered here in the shadows. They fear that these hidden treasures may never be found, though, if we allow the forests to be destroyed.
National Geographic Today's Peter Standring. He says that around the world, annual sales of plant-derived pharmaceuticals total more than $70 billion.
That figure could very well go up as even more